nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.
Men should never have any anger or resentment towards their partners, even if it's her mood swings that's causing it. If you fight with a woman, by default, she is automatically a victim. You will not win. You will pay for all the bad men equally, no matter how good of a man that you are. When a woman works hard, she is an inspiration. When you work hard, you will always be just an average man doing his job.
Today we're discussing the dangerous surge of lonely single women. The relationship between men and women has never been worse, and now women are finding themselves alone as more men walk away from relationships and dating, as well as society, and choose to focus on themselves and their own happiness. Today's video comes from the China Unvarnished channel. Their channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go check them out and support them. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of this dangerous surge of lonely single women in society and how this is going to affect and change society going forward. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble, which is linked in the description of the video. And of course, guys, check out the Crypto Academy, Angry's Crypto Academy, which is also linked in the description of the video to learn how to buy, sell, and trade crypto safely and invest in it as well. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Men nowadays have really become more and more picky. Before the Spring Festival, I went on a blind date with a guy. He really made me angry. I told him I could cook, and he responded, "But you're older." I said I can drive and do housework, and he still said, "But you're older." I told him that I would be even more virtuous in the future, and he still only focused on the fact that I'm older. I really felt like this kind of response was so discouraging, and it hurt my feelings. In fact, they would rather find a girl in her 20s, even though she only earns 3,000 yuan a month, but they can treat her like a princess at home, pamper her, and support her. They are unwilling to accept an older single woman who is capable and knows how to do everything. I feel like society has really changed a lot now. Many people's views on relationships have become more and more realistic, and the prejudice against age has become more and more severe. It seems that all abilities and advantages are not as important as the label of age. This idea really makes me feel a bit lost and helpless. It looks like this year's Spring Festival, I won't be able to bring a boyfriend home for the holiday.
作为一个优质大连剩女，我没有职业歧视，但是我想说的是
As a high-quality older single woman, I have never had any prejudice or discrimination against people's professions. But I want to say this, those guys with a monthly salary of 3,000 to 4,000 yuan, I really hope you will stop coming after me. In the past, the boyfriends I had were wealthy second-generation individuals with annual incomes in the millions. The living conditions were completely different. Moreover, the world of the wealthy second generation is worlds apart from your lives. How could I possibly stand on the same level as you guys? I was once a woman who was protected by an eagle, who had experienced luxurious and decent lives. I can no longer accept a life that is as ordinary as that of a sparrow. I'm not looking down on you, it's just that my life experiences and perspective have reached a new level. I hope you can understand, and I wish you all the best in finding the right partner for yourselves. I believe that everyone should choose their partner based on their own standards, and I also have my own bottom line and standards. After all, my past experiences have given me more options and considerations.
我发现有些女的真的是离谱，他妈给离谱开门，那是离谱到家了。
I find some women's thinking really hard to understand. It's simply outrageously exaggerated. They always think they should find a partner who is perfect in every way. However, their standards are so high that they are unwilling to make even the slightest compromise. Sometimes, just because a partner has a slightly bent nose hair, they think it's a deal breaker. This mindset baffles me because, you know, when you were in your 20s, you couldn't find that 100% perfect match. So how can you expect to find it now that you're in your 30s or 40s? I really want to ask you, older single women, who gave you this kind of courage? Is it the female celebrities cheering you on? I sincerely advise you all, fairy ladies, I have a word for you. If you think you found a man who meets every one of your requirements and you can't find any flaws, I bet this man has one flaw, and that is, he doesn't fancy you at all. If you don't believe me, you can keep waiting. You're in your 30s now. Thinking you're still young and have plenty of time? Well, you can wait until your 40s, 50s, or even 60s, 70s. And keep waiting, right? But when you're old, and eventually become a lonely old person, you can still wait for your Prince Charming. Don't say I didn't warn you. Dear girls, when we look for a suitable husband, the key is not in setting a perfect partner according to your own standards, as if it's like computer programming, where you input a program and a perfect match will automatically appear and the man will be yours. The reality is, you can only choose between someone who treats you well and someone who meets your standards. Whether it's his financial ability, appearance, or other aspects. As long as you can find a balance and choose a man who meets at least one of your requirements, you're already doing well. So, when you all keep being so picky, it really makes me furious. I can't even introduce you to a man who would meet your satisfaction. If you're still unwilling to listen to advice and continue waiting, then wait until the day comes when you're a lonely old person. Don't say I didn't warn you.
You know, guys, this is actually my second attempt at recording this video for you. So I had recorded a 42-minute video for you guys before, but the software that I was using, it does not allow me to check the audio wave while I'm recording. I checked the microphone beforehand. I did all of this, and I was like, okay, everything is working. The microphone is working. Recorded the video, and boom, at the end of recording it for almost 1 hour, turns out it was not recording. So the voiceover didn't record. So this is my second attempt. So I've been really pissed off lately. I'm actually really angry, really upset. And when I'm like this, I don't want to work. But here I am still putting out work for you. So if you guys appreciate it, definitely let me know by saying thank you, angry, in the comments. All right. The situation with women in Western society today is quite grave. Women have basically put themselves in a position where they want to be worshipped. They need to be worshipped, where they actually say, hey, if a man does not worship you, don't be in a relationship with him. Only date men that worship you. But look at how men are reacting. Men are choosing to actively avoid dating, avoid relationships, and even conversations with women. This woman just basically explained the reasons why women need to lower their standards and to find a man while they're still young. And here's what I've realized. It doesn't work. Women don't respect other women. There are so many women who have friends that are delusional. And every so often you'll have one of these women who will say, you're out of your damn mind. What you're doing is only going to lead to you becoming a spinster. You are crazy and you are living in your delusion. Every so often, you'll have a woman tell another woman that. Do you know what happens? That's the end of the friendship. They will say that that other woman is a hater. That other woman is not a real friend. That other woman didn't mean them any good. They will talk bad about this. Guys, this is the reason why I don't involve myself in relationships with them. Because if one woman ever dares to tell another woman the truth, she will try to destroy her. If a woman is not living in the same delusion that her friends are in, and she dares to stand up to another woman and say, you need to stop this because you're going to end up in a terrible state, a state of poverty and destitution. If a woman says, no, you're not, this is not beautiful, you are overweight, you are pre-diabetic, or you're just straight up diabetic, you have high blood pressure, you are facing heart disease, okay? I'm not going to sit here and tell you lies. You are not a 10, okay? A lot of guys who would not even rate you a 1, and the only dudes that are in your DMs are simps. They will completely break down, or they will ignore it and move on to the next one and say that these women are just haters and blah, blah, blah. Because what real women really want is to surround themselves by simps who will validate every bad decision that they make. You see, they don't want good men. They want Chad, they want Tyrone, and they want simps. Because simps will give them everything that they want and tell them everything that they want to hear. A simple not tell a woman the truth. A simple tell her the beautiful lies that she is desperate to hear. A simple give her money that she does not deserve. A simple make her believe that she is more valuable than she really is. And that she does not have to work on herself as a person. She does not have to work on her personality. And then what ends up happening is these women find themselves later on in life lonely and single, still believing that they're tens, still believing that they deserve to be on private jets. I mean, listen to this other lady. I used to be on, I used to be wined and dined and, I was taken care of and men used to take me on trips. It's like, bro, you didn't deserve any of those things. You were basically young. You were dating men who were in their 40s, 50s, and 60s even. And you were just there because of your youth and vitality. You didn't earn any of these things, and now you're an eagle who deserves a certain quality of life and a certain man. And you're not going to accept any broke boys. In the United States, the average man makes between $40,000 and $50,000 a year. The average woman makes between $30,000 and $40,000 a year. So women make substantially less than men in Western society, and only a small portion of the U.S. population actually makes 100K or more. And yet, most women will say that they're only going to accept a guy who makes 100K, makes at least six figures or above. And it's, guys, they put themselves on a pedestal, and I've called it so long ago that we're going to witness the fall of the golden V. And the golden V, it's going to be miserable, guys. A lot of these jobs are going to be replaced by AI, and predominantly jobs done by women. Men, on the other hand, the average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. The average woman cannot. For us, guys, cryptocurrency is our tool to survive and navigate what's going to happen. And if you have your investments together, you're going to survive and thrive. Especially with Trump coming in right now, you only have a few days left. We don't know what's going to happen. The markets could crash or they can skyrocket. All right? Even the crappiest of crap coins. You do not have many days left. His inauguration is very soon. Because I've said it plenty of times, the financial system is on the brink of collapse. ATMs will freeze, banks will lock their doors, your wealth is at risk. Learn how to protect your assets with crypto. Anger's Crypto Academy will teach you to buy, sell, trade, and invest in the safest coins. Don't wait until it's too late. Secure your future today. Click the link in description to join. I mean, guys, these are the choices that you really have. You could sit around, you could do nothing, you could play games, and you can wait for hell on earth. Or you can prepare right now. Because modern women are not prepared for this. Modern women aren't prepared for anything. They are just sitting around dancing and twiddling their fingers and thinking that they're always going to be bailed out of every bad decision that they make. And many of us feel that they will never, ever experience a fall from grace. Guys, God has allowed them to reach the highest mountain so that they can fall from the highest peak. That's really what it is. Because they basically took the V, they dipped it in gold, put it on a pedestal, and said, worship me. And if there's one thing that God has a history of doing, it is of destroying false idols and destroying those who worship them. Do not be one of these men worshiping these false gods. Because these false gods, they will be destroyed by God. But before they leave, guys, you don't just pass away like that. There is a lot of suffering that you will go through before you pass away. Trust me, and you will believe that it is hell. Many of you have never experienced true suffering in your lives. And I'm here to tell you, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I passed through some suffering when I was ill. I was ill for many years. I was on my DEATH bed. And I don't know. It's only God why I made it. I'm telling you guys, so you do not know what suffering is. You do not know what true pain is. And no one cares because you're a man. No one cares. Many of us don't even have mothers who care. I'm telling you. It's so sad. Our value to society is measured solely based on what we provide and continue to provide. What's interesting with women is that everything that you do for them does not actually matter. What matters, because like, for example, if you've been a good husband for the last 10 years, those things don't matter. The only thing that actually matters is what have you done for her lately. That's it. That's how women actually think. And of course, it's a sad thing to consider, but it's a reality that a lot of men are faced with. Okay. Because women do not think the way that we do. There was a video from Eddie Murphy back in the 80s where he basically said that, it was a comedy special where he said that, he can go to Africa and get himself a woman who is basically, completely disrobed riding on a zebra, she doesn't know nothing, and bring her back to the US. And, she's a good wife. But but he said, you can't bring them back to the US because the moment that you bring them back to the US, a woman from the US will catch them alone and just mess their entire thing up and tell them that they're not being treated right and they deserve half. And before you know it, they've divorced you for half, and that's it. And it's the truth. It's the truth. Men knew this 30, 40 years ago. They knew that Western society will change a woman. All of this stuff with feminism is not brand new. It was happening 40 years ago. The difference is that we have the internet now. And as a result of that, it's everywhere and everyone can see it for what it is. And it's always been a 100% HATE movement.
给大家讲一个我接咨询过程当中遇到的真实的故事啊。
I want to share a real story that I encountered in marriage and dating counseling. Last week, a man came to me for consultation. He is quite a successful guy, earning around 2 million yuan annually, living in a first-tier city. He has 2 children, a nice property, and overall, his financial situation is excellent. He also has clear requirements for his marriage. So, he came to me to inquire about what kind of partner he could find at his age. I told him that, based on his situation, it might be difficult to find an unmarried young woman because he is not young anymore, born in 1982, and he already has 2 children. However, if he is willing to consider someone who has been married before but has no children, or someone who has been divorced with a daughter, it would be relatively easier, especially if the woman is attractive. Upon hearing this, the man replied that his requirements were not high and he could accept a divorced woman with children, no problem. Hearing this, I had a favorable impression of him. I thought he was a responsible, easygoing guy. So, I thought of a woman who had been married briefly but had no children and was in good condition, and I decided to introduce her to him. I sent him the woman's photo directly, only for him to reply immediately. She has an internet celebrity face, I don't like it. In that moment, I felt completely slapped in the face. This incident made me realize that many men who appear to have great conditions and low requirements actually have high internal standards. Especially for men who earn millions of yuan a year, their standards are not simple. In fact, they can be quite high. You can't just judge their mate selection based on their surface conditions. As I mentioned before, many excellent men actually don't lack women. So women, when you meet these outstanding men, you need to be more proactive. In fact, many successful men have already found their ideal partners when they were in college or just entering the workforce. Therefore, their single period is very short. So, if you want to pursue such men, you must seize the opportunity and take the initiative. If you're not proactive, someone else will soon introduce them to potential partners. I once met a very successful man from Hangzhou. At that time, I happened to have a female fan with good conditions and the right age. I casually made the connection, introducing them to each other, and they quickly started talking. So, you'll notice that outstanding men rarely stay in the matchmaking market for long, because many people are actively helping them find partners. Truly excellent men don't end up spending long periods of time without a girlfriend. The man who came to me last week reached out to me again this afternoon on WeChat, asking if I could introduce another woman to him. I directly told him, "I'm afraid I can't introduce anyone to you. Last time, when I introduced that woman to you, you complained about her looks. You guys may say that a woman just needs to be virtuous and able to manage the household, but I tell you, for men with high income, they are really very picky about a woman's appearance. Looks are extremely important to them. So, sisters, you must accept this reality. Sisters, please don't believe those online matchmaking ads like, 'I'm 40 years old, I have a house and a car, earning this much a year, and I want a certain type of woman.' It may seem that these men have low requirements, but in fact, men with high incomes don't appear on the matchmaking market. They don't fall to the point where they need matchmaking services. Truly successful men usually find their partners through their personal networks, friends, or in higher-end social circles. They don't need to go to matchmaking agencies. So, if you want to find an excellent man, you must first become an excellent woman. Do you understand? It's not enough to be unattractive and lack abilities and still expect to find an outstanding man. These men are outstanding for a reason. They didn't become successful to downgrade for a woman who is not excellent. Some of you may ask, are excellent men always good men? I say not necessarily, but highly successful men are more likely to be good men. Because successful men generally have good qualities. They need to work hard, and it's because of their efforts that they become outstanding individuals. Excellence doesn't equal perfection. Excellent people can still have flaws. But outstanding men often have qualities that are socially recognized. So, when looking for an excellent partner, you must understand this. So, I still want to remind you, sisters, don't treat men like fools. If you're not an excellent woman, don't expect to find a perfect man. Sorry, those men really won't be interested in you. So, you must accept this harsh reality. Let me tell you again about what it means for a woman to be excellent. Being excellent as a woman doesn't mean competing with men in terms of income. What do men want? Most wealthy men want a woman who is beautiful, with a good figure, or from a good family, or has a decent job, and they want her to have a good personality. For example, be gentle, virtuous, and kind. If you don't understand these principles, sisters, please take the time to reflect on them.
You see, this is the interesting thing. Modern women believe that they are superior to us simply because they exist. They believe that their beauty and their sole existence makes them more valuable than you. This is the reason why a woman who is heavy set, a woman can be 300 pounds. She can have things like, she can be diabetic. She can be diabetic. She can have high blood pressure, serious health issues. Hell, she could even be in a wheelchair. She could have extraordinary financial issues, a couple $100,000 between student loan debt and personal debt, and she thinks that she's a 10. And if she somehow gets into a relationship with a wealthy man, she still believes that she is better than that man. And you would be shocked to know that she will even cheat on that man. This could be a man who is, let's say, in his early 40s. He could be extremely attractive, very good looking, very good, fit, extremely fit. So he can have, a six pack, make above six figures, is above 6 feet tall, have all of these qualities. And for some reason, this man chooses to go and get into a relationship with this woman, and she will not value any of that. And she will believe that she is entitled to everything and even more simply because she is a woman. Because just by the very virtue of her being a woman, she is superior to him. And what this woman here discovered is she was trying to set this high value man up who makes millions of dollars a year with a single mom. And she was shocked when he basically said, no, I don't want that. And that's when she suddenly realized that there is no shortage of women chasing men like him, high value men. She tried to tell a 42-year-old millionaire that he was too old now and he would need to settle for a woman who had kids or a woman who had been divorced because younger women would not want him, until he basically had to say, I will not accept what you're trying to hand to me. Okay? And it was only in that moment that she realized, as I feel bad for this guy. Like, he didn't even this guy, to even agree in the first place that he would even go out with a single mom and these types, that's a joke. He did not need to lower his standards, but that's the kind of nonsense that these women will tell men. When the reality is that they damn well know a man who has lots of money also has lots of options. There's no shortage of women that are chasing these men. These men aren't out here chasing these women. These women are out here chasing these men. That's one of the reasons why men have to wake up and know their value and know their worth and understand that modern women in Western society, they don't actually like us. It's all about what we can do for them and provide for them and give, and even how we can entertain them. Girls just want to have fun. It's a sad reality and a sad society that we live in, but it's one that we have to continue to be relatively aware of if we want to survive and if we want to thrive, because this is what we've been handed. Like I said, guys, a lot of women are going to find themselves in this increased state of poverty and destitution. They're not going to know what to do. Okay? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And God has allowed them to reach the highest peaks, and now they're going to fall from them. And when they finally when they finally arrive back at earth, it's going to be, touch the ground, it's going to be rough. And it's going to basically be like, I can't say for sure, but I think it's going to be just like how the children of Israel were in the wilderness for 40 years. Modern women are going to find themselves in extraordinary states of poverty and destitution. There was a person who predicted, maybe 15 years ago, or almost 15 years ago, they wrote like a manifesto predicting that, in the 2020s, women would end up falling into such a state of extreme destitution and poverty that specifically in the United States, that women in the rest of the world would begin asking, people in the rest of the world in general would begin asking, how did women in Western society, how did women in the US end up in such in such terrible condition?
Men should never have any anger or resentment towards their partners, even if it's her mood swings that's causing it. If you fight with a woman, by default, she is automatically a victim. You will not win. You will pay for all the bad men equally, no matter how good of a man that you are. When a woman works hard, she is an inspiration. When you work hard, you will always be just an average man doing his job. If you accidentally look at a woman the wrong way or brush up against a woman the wrong way, you are automatically considered criminal or a creep. There is no exception. Women will always accuse you of being a cheater without ever realizing that a woman was also involved. One fake, false allegation of SA or rape, your life is over. You will always be taught to respect women, and just remember that women will never be taught to respect you. And respect is earned, not given. If you discipline or scold your child, then you have anger issues and you need help. But if you don't scold them, then you're weak and you don't know how to parent properly. Not to mention you're irresponsible or the Disneyland fun parent. If you don't care about your kids, she'll beg you to be around. But if you care about your kids, then she'll withhold them as much as possible. You will almost never, ever, ever be given the benefit of doubt. You automatically did it. It's a harsh reality, and you automatically did it even if there's no proof. You are guilty until proven innocent, rather than innocent until proven guilty. You can do everything in life correctly and everything right and still lose. You are almost always expected to be the breadwinner, but you are also almost expected or never allowed to ask for anything or have any wants, needs, or desires.
And that's exactly what we're heading for. And don't let them convince you they don't need no man. Modern women are not designed to live without a husband. You have idiots who are trying to convince you otherwise. Don't listen to them. Women need men. Women desperately need men to survive. They cannot survive without us. They can put on a front, they can put on a show, but they cannot survive without us, guys. And it's not that we don't need women. Women need us. That's the honest to goodness truth. Once you will learn how to control your lust and your fear of being alone, you will come to realize just how boring most modern women are and terrible to be around, because their personalities are not developed and they are extreme narcissists. And like I said, guys, this is going to, instead of focusing on women, you should be focusing on self-development, self-growth, focusing on the things that make you happy, and focusing on getting your money. So don't forget to check out Angry's Crypto Academy, because hard times are coming. ATMs will stop working. Banks will chain the doors. Protect your wealth and safeguard your future with crypto. Angry's Crypto Academy will teach you how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in crypto. We'll tell you exactly which coins will mint you millionaires and how to, billionaires. I know it's going to mint you billionaires. I know, but yeah. I knew you'd like that. Which coins will mint you millionaires and how to spot potential coins to invest in. Don't miss out. The Academy is linked in the description of the video. I want you guys to all get this opportunity, guys. You shouldn't be out there chasing women. You shouldn't be out there wasting your time. guys, and listen, when things go downhill for these individuals, don't cry for them, because they are not crying for you. Listen to me, bro. They don't give a damn about you, and they'll let you know all the time they don't give a damn about you. They expect us to serve them and provide for them. Look at what's happening over in California. Look at what's happening where they basically got rid of all the male firefighters and replaced them with women. They replaced all of the heads of the fire department, safety commissioner, all of these positions, and these are women are making $500,000 a year, $700,000 a year, almost $1 million a year. These women who are now these LGBT individuals, okay, are now, this is crazy, and there's nothing wrong with the LGBT community, but they replaced them with LGBT women, LGBTQ plus women, and they're making more money than the president of the United States. And there was like even a video saying, like, where one of these women said, if a man gets trapped in a fire and he needs me to carry him out, then that's on him, because that's his fault for getting trapped in that place. This is the reality of it. This is reality, guys. They don't give a damn about us. And now what's going on? They guys, it's so bad that they actually had to have firefighters from Mexico coming over to help. From Mexico. Because they fired all of the men. They got rid of all of the white guys. They replaced them with women. Guys, society is heading for a massive decline, a massive cultural collapse. And this time, when women say, help, men are just going to whisper, no.
4岁没男人要，所以才说不结婚。
I often see comments saying that I'm 40 and still not married, implying that no man wants me, and that's why I don't want to get married. Every time I see such comments, I can't help but smile, but what I want to say is, my beauty doesn't need me to beg any man to want me. It's about whether I want to choose those men, not the other way around. I think the saddest thing for Chinese women is that they've always believed their lives must depend on a man who loves them, as if a woman's ultimate goal is to find a husband. This so-called charming man mindset and reliance thinking are deeply rooted, influencing the views of many people. In fact, once you break out of this vicious cycle, your mindset will become much lighter, and you will feel much more relaxed. Especially for many Chinese parents from a young age, they brainwash their daughters, telling them to be obedient, well-behaved, good at housework, and virtuous and gentle, or else they will have no one to marry. This mindset makes many girls feel inferior from a young age, as if they are products in the market, being picked, scrutinized, and evaluated by others. It seems that in life, you can only gain recognition by constantly pleasing others. Many times, women's worth is simplified to whether they can be a good wife and mother. If someone compliments you by saying, "You're gentle, perfect for being a wife," you might even feel proud. But this kind of compliment actually suggests that you're easy to control and exploit. Honestly, I've never liked such praise. I'd rather be myself than cater to others. But why should I do that? I don't care what others like. I only care about whether I'm comfortable with myself and whether my life is happy. I won't tolerate any injustice. For me, my own feelings are more important than any external evaluation. I believe every girl should have an independent personality and character, and should not rely on anyone's evaluation to define her life. We don't need to wait for others' judgment or evaluation, because we are already good enough. If I can't meet a man who satisfies me, I'd rather live alone. I will never settle for a man I don't like just to be in a relationship. Being happy with myself is the most important thing.
You see, guys, all this self-love BS has been absolutely terrible, and it has done has had a horrible effect on the lives of women. Because I used to, oh, you need to learn how to love yourself. You don't love yourself, guys. That's a load of BS. That's narcissism. You need to learn how to love yourself more. That's women, guys. That's women and narcissism. Okay, worshiping themselves, because they are taught at a young age to worship themselves, and because, can you imagine how sick you have to be and sadistic you have to be? God has angels who worship him. As human beings, we worship him. But I don't know if anywhere in the Bible it says that God worships himself. I'm just being realistic. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, does God worship himself? Right? Like, that's a question that we can actually like, I'm going to ask that in, like, to chat GPT. Does God worship himself? And it responds, in most religious traditions, God is considered the supreme being and the object of worship, rather than being a being who worships. Worship is typically an act of reverence, adoration, and devotion directed towards a higher power. Since God is viewed as the highest power, the concept of God worshiping himself doesn't align with the theological principles of most religions. It's a fascinating question that touches on the deep theological and philosophical roots. What inspired you to ask this? Well, that's what ChatGPT said. And it's because modern women worship themselves, right? And it's very interesting. Now, it's quite interesting. Now, how does ChatGPT respond to that? It responds by saying, that's an interesting perspective. The idea of self worship can be seen as a reflection of self confidence and self love, which are important aspects of, guys, didn't I tell you about that whole self love BS? Which are important aspects of personal well being. However, it is also important to strike a balance and ensure that self love doesn't turn into narcissism or self centeredness. In today's society, there's a strong emphasis on individualism and self expression, which can sometimes be interpreted as self worship. It's a complex topic with many layers, including cultural, social, and psychological factors. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think there's a balance to be struck between self love and self worship? Jesus Christ. So even ChatGPT says that you have to be careful with this, because it's important to ensure that self-love doesn't turn into narcissism or self-centeredness. God does not. So based on this, God does not worship himself, and yet women worship themselves. How self-centered and narcissistic do you have to be to demand that every man must worship you, and you worship yourselves? That's why I said they took the V, they dipped it in gold, they put it on a pedestal, and they said everyone must worship me. God loves to destroy idols. And where women are heading it's basically like something out of the children of Israel, where they were, after everything God had done for them, they began worshiping the golden calf. And what did he do? He destroyed it, and he left them to the wilderness. And what have women done? Modern women, they worship the golden V. They took the V, they dipped it in gold, they put it on a pedestal, and they said everyone better worship it or else. And we feel like these guys, as men, we feel like these individuals and the society that they serve and are in cahoots with absolutely hate us, and we are right to believe that, and are oppressing us. So we are being oppressed, we are being oppressed today by these people, by the children of Gomorrah, by the children of Sodom, okay, by those consumed with the Jezebel spirit. And do not forget that the Jezebel spirit does not simply inhibit women, it is a spirit that also inhibits men, because these Sims are filled with the Jezebel spirit. And we know what God does. He loves to destroy idols, and women have turned themselves into false idols that are so narcissistic that they now worship themselves while demanding worship of others from men. So, guys, I told you we're going to see the collapse of the golden V, the great collapse of the golden V. And like the children of Israel, they are going to find themselves in the wilderness with Yogi and Boo Boo, and they can see what happens when they are face to face with the bear. And we'll discover how that works out for them. We 100% will.
我就想知道现在男生结婚都看什么？
I really want to know, what do men look for when getting married now? Do you focus on a woman's character or her personality, or do you consider her age? Or is it about her family background? Or is her educational background important? Or perhaps it's about whether her values align with yours. Or do you care if she's beautiful? What exactly do you look for in a woman? I feel that getting married is really difficult for me right now because as a 36-year-old woman, my options are almost non-existent. I feel like I've become part of the difficult-to-marry group because whether it's men of my age or older, they have many picky standards. Many men of my age think I'm too old and my fertility is no match for women under 30. And men in their 40s may think that since I'm already 36 and haven't married, I must have very high standards. Also, many people may have doubts about why I haven't gotten married, assuming there's something wrong with my health. Moreover, when it comes to men in their 40s or 50s who are divorced and have children, they might be concerned about how I'll treat their kids, which further limits my options. So right now, I feel like I have no men to choose from. Some people suggest that I could try dating a man in his 20s, but I personally feel that the age gap is just too large and our life experiences and perspectives would be very different. We probably wouldn't be a good match, so I'm not interested in trying with younger men.
I guarantee you that she's had relationships with younger men. In fact, she's probably having relationships with younger men right now. What they call it is hag maxing, where you have these guys who are in their 20s, basically the Gen Zers, and they are hooking up with women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, possibly even 60s, because it's much harder to get into a relationship with a woman their age. But these older women who are now feeling like, they are still, it's like kind of like how Stella got her groove back type of thing, they're going out there and they're hooking up with these young guys, and then that makes them feel like, well, if I can hook up with these young guys, that means that I'm super valuable and all of these men want me. So if these young men want me, then older men need to worship me. And they don't seem to comprehend that these younger men are just hooking up with them because it's relatively easy access to physical intimacy, and physical intimacy is much harder for a man to obtain than it is for a woman. Older men, on the other hand, have become increasingly selective and picky when it comes to dating and relationships, with many of them opting out entirely of relationships. Even when it comes to younger men, Gen Zers are not dating, not having relationships, and not being physically intimate. So the ones that they're messing around with are also very low quality men who have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Guys, this just really highlights the dangerous serve of lonely single women. Do you agree that more and more women are going to find themselves in extraordinary states of poverty and destitution as things continue to get more difficult for women in Western society and continue to go downhill? Women are going to find themselves living in extreme states of poverty, extreme states of destitution, living in the woods, living in the streets. It's not going to be pretty. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.